The Irish artist Elizabeth Cope lives with her husband Geoffrey in the beautiful surroundings of Shankill Castle in Polestown, County Kilkenny, in the heart of Ireland.
My name is Elizabeth Cope. I'm a painter. I was born in Ballytour, County Kildare in 1952. My parents were farmers, and my mother had a grocery store where we sold.
We start our visit at 7 a.m. over breakfast.
Oh yeah, you should make me look as if I have a tweed jacket on.
I'm getting him one as a gift soon. No, I do think that people think art is something to. They're looking for perfection, you know. They want a beginning, a middle, and an end, like watching maybe Midsummer Murders, where everything falls into place. But life isn't like that, as we know. It's precarious. I suppose you could maybe argue probably Mozart was the one person we all think of as a lovely person. He died aged 36.
Yet he had enemies.
And yes, but you see, anyone who's any good has enemies. If you don't have enemies, you're not alive. Sadly, it's sad to say that. I think the eggs could be ready now.
Can I do something?
Yes.
Can I take them off?
Soft egg, yeah.
Okay.
I think they should be ready. We'll try one first. But I mean, an egg timer, we don't...
You burn your hand.
What?
Yes.
The only thing you need in the kitchen is a sharp knife, not a sharp tongue, and lemons. You see, we don't make tea now like we used to with the teapot and the...
Whoops.
You pass. It would be handy, Geoffrey,
Yes.
if you passed it. They are a bit hard, I'm afraid.
Salt, I'm afraid there's no salt. You just have to pinch salt.
But the other mistake we make now, Alan, is eating black pepper. White pepper with an egg is much better.
What's it?
I mean, black pepper is just, you know...
I think it doesn't matter.
Well, it does, actually. Trina, have some black pepper for a change. The white pepper's upstairs.
This is a wonderful spread.
Is it a feast?
Well, we thought because we've a long day ahead, we had a psychiatrist staying here for a couple of months, renting.
Very handy.
Upstairs, oh, very handy. And he told me very explicitly that how much he hated my work. I said, brilliant.
Bring it on, says he.
Exactly. No, he was staying here as he had to do some work in a local town, and he told me how much he didn't like my work, and I wasn't offended in the least. I said, I'm really happy because at least, you know, I moved him.
Better than indifference.
Yes, I moved him in some way.
After a most informative and entertaining breakfast, I soon realised that here was a woman whose life experiences instilled a certainty of opinion on many subjects, from pepper to parish politics. It was time to head down to the studio, which is in the outbuildings of the family's organic farm, alongside the cafe, walled gardens and beautiful grounds, which are open to the public from May to September.
This morning, yes.
So, Elizabeth, do you normally work to very large sizes?
No, I don't. I work both. I'm quite comfortable working large and small. It doesn't really bother me. I suppose the large paintings are more, you know, of course the summertime is the best time to paint because you can paint outdoors, and I like to be able to paint outdoors as much as possible.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think it's, I don't know what it is. I think it's really important to be able to have the fresh air.
So, Elizabeth, while you're doing that, tell us a bit about the actual painting.
Well, the painting it's a mixture of stuff that I have a figure here of Jack, and this is my granddaughter, and these are two nude paintings that I did in New York. I just cut them up. They're canvas, oil on canvas, and the octopus I've added on as well. It's a cutout canvas on canvas. And then I had two other models helping me, but I've got to get them back again. These paintings are just, I suppose, you know, I can't really put my finger on it, but I don't like to think too much when I'm painting, because once you start thinking, it becomes trite or something. I can't really, if I have to put into words what the painting is meant to be, it defeats the purpose. You know, a painting has to call you over to it. And if it doesn't do that, well, it hasn't worked, you know. And this is a camel. The camel I painted in India. That was in India, and I cut him out. And I don't have any rhyme or reason as to why I chose different subject matter. The green might be completely obliterated yet, so it will remain. It remains to be seen how it will be when I continue it.
Could change completely.
Absolutely, yes.
How many hours a day would you spend in the studio?
Well, I try to work between 9 o'clock in the morning and 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But of course, being a woman, those hours get all mixed up. But I'm a morning person, so I like to get the energy. The work is in the morning time. And but no day is the same, you know, but I try and work within a format. Drawing with the left hand is a very valuable thing to do. I'm going to try and do that now with my left hand, because you only put down things that you feel then, you know.
Yes.
Whereas if you've less control with the opposite of what you normally use. I remember when I was in London, there was a Miss Holland whom I worked for in an office, and she had the most beautiful handwriting I'd ever seen. And in fact, she was actually right-handed, but during the war she had to do a lot of writing. And so she started to use her left hand, and she ended up using her left hand, and she had the most beautiful handwriting. So I've always learned from that. So using the opposite hand gives you more discipline, really, because you can we draw what we think we see rather than draw what we see. You know, it's important to draw what you see. 3 marks of what you see are better than 300 marks of what you think you see. That's I learned that the hard way, you know, when you have a model or somebody sitting for you. That's the good thing about a model, because it gives you a discipline. We're going to go outside and draw the animals now, shall we?
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah.
So off we traipsed for a bit of afternoon sketching down by the farm.
The goat is amazing, isn't he? I'll get a bit of hay now. Come on. Oh, that would be great. Having them here, you see, I could see everything. Oh, that's very nice. Oh, that is very nice. Now. Now. I love their eyes, don't you?
Yes.
Goat's eyes are very special. Now. Come on, Mr. Goatsby, come on. Hello, Dylan. How you doing, Dylan? Yes, that's good. And also, if I had them on the USB stick as well, because then I have a guarantee if anything happened. Excellent. Because I want to show them to Phoebe, because some of them are hers. Thank you very much, Dylan. I'm sorry I can't speak to you. I'm in the middle of drawing the goat and the bull here. Now, how's he got? He's just stiff from lying down. Isn't it so nice to see?
Isn't it fantastic?
I'm just drawing this now because I have him there. Now Alfie, he said, what about me? I didn't do Alfie yet. Now, Mr. Bull. He said, hello, Alan. He said, are you photographing me? Are you photographing me? Yes, I'm a big bull, yes. Oh, yes. See, can you smell him? Can you smell him?
I can't.
Can you? Over where I am, you can.
Can you? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the lovely sun.
Oh, we're in clover with the sun. No, Mr. Bull. can never trust a bull, ever. Whatever the breed, you can never trust them. It's a nice close-up of your head, haven't we? I wanted to keep it fairly. Look how long his eyelashes are.
Yes.
Massive, aren't they? Brown eyes to have. Brown eyes. Character, isn't he? Every animal is so different, really.
After about 5 hours of painting and sketching, it was time to go back to the house for a rest, well, at least on my part. But the day hadn't all been about painting and sketching. Earlier in the day, around noon, Elizabeth received a call from a neighbour, alerting us to an escaped animal. Alfie the donkey had managed to open the gate and escape from the field. We only hoped that the great Goatsby and Mr. Bull weren't in hot pursuit.
So
Oh, look at, here he is, look at, here he is.
looking for a verse.
I know, I want him to go back. I'll try and get carrots. Let me go in and get a carrot. You try and keep him there.
Yeah.
Alfie, go back, Alfie. Here, I'll get the carrots right now. Just keep him down that end.
No. No. Down this way. Down this way. Oh. Alfie?
Where is he, Alan? Has he gone? Where has he gone?
He's just to the left over there.
Has he gone down the avenue?
No, not fully. You can see him. But I was afraid to go near him. He'd start to go further.
Just give you. There's a carrot. If he,
Yeah.
He's quite a kind fellow. He's not a nasty one. Here, Alfie. Come on, Alfie. Come on, Alfie. Come on, good boy. Good boy. Come on. Here.
All this commotion reminded Elizabeth to share with me a video her son Reuben and artist daughter Phoebe made a few years ago of a Manhattan-themed exhibition she had in the barn, especially for her herd of donkeys. Or maybe it was just a special preview for them. The title speaks for itself. Aren't they remarkably like us humans in a gallery on opening night? It was time to change for dinner and talk in more detail about Elizabeth's life and work.
My parents were farmers, and my mother had a grocery store where we sold our own milk and our own vegetables.
And did you have any siblings?
Oh yes, far too many. I'm in the middle of 9.
Oh, are you?
Yes,
Wow.
I have 4 sisters now,
Yes.
and 3 brothers. 1 sister died, and my brother lives in the home place still. Our father used to bring us around to all the monuments, and my aunt used to play the piano, and she played grade 8, and my father played the clarinet, and he had his own brass band.
Did he?
And he also was chosen to play football for Manchester United, and his mother wouldn't let him go. So that's my only claim to fame. Well, I don't know. It wasn't a professional sport, I think, in those days.
What sparked your interest in painting?
Well, my sister came home from France with a box of oil paints. She spent a year there as an au pair in Paris, and it was the smell of the oil paints, I think, that maybe seduced me into becoming a painter. And she also gave me a little book, a slim version of the Bible in pictures. And there was one of Rembrandt's Christ on the Cross. I still remember that today. You never forget those images. So that's really how it started. But I put it out of my head, I suppose, for about 10 years. And then at the age of 19, I was in my little flat in Sandymount when I had this thing. I said, that's it. That's what I want to be, a painter. So
what steps did you take to...
Well, ironically, I was staying in Tritonville Road in Dublin, in Sandymount. I was 142 Tritonville Road, and Jeffrey, my husband, he was staying in Tritonville Road at the other end, but we never met until quite a long time later. And then I went to London then when I was 19.
And what brought you there?
Well, the idea of the big city, I don't know, we just went, my sister and I went on the train, and I stayed in a hostel for 2 years. E.W. Barney Limited was the company I worked for in Piccadilly. And there was this wonderful woman called Miss Holland, who was probably in her late 70s when I was 19. She was so nice to me. And so I got a job then as a teacher in a prep school for boys, Catholic prep school for boys in Kensington, because I used to have to look up the ads, you know, in the Catholic papers for different jobs, and there I found this job. So Miss Holland gave me a glowing reference, so I went there for 2 years, and I really enjoyed it. In the meantime, I was going to art schools in the evening. I went to the Sir John Cass School of Art for 2 years, which I really loved, more than any of the art schools, in fact.
Yes.
Because anybody could go there, including you know, retired people, and in fact, the first day I went into drawing, there was a nude model, and all these men drawing her and painting her, and she was in her mid-70s, and she told me that she was a model for Augustus John. So that's a great link to the past.
Yes.
And you had famous models like Quentin Crisp. You know, he wrote The Naked Civil Servant, and they would do this full circuit of art schools. So then I said to the headmaster in St. Philip's, I said, I wonder could I give up teaching sports after the first year, because I wanted to pursue more time painting. And he said, oh my goodness me, Miss Lola, we cannot let you go. So he allowed me to give up teaching sports so I could go to the art class in Whitechapel at the Cass School, and that was great. I had a great education for very little money in London. You know, I was able to see Nureyev dance with Margot Fontaine and
Wonderful.
Go to all the different museums. And
so at what point did you decide to come back to Ireland, and why?
Well, I was in London for 6 years, from the age of 19 until I was 25. And then I came back to Ireland. I don't know why I came back to Ireland. And I got a job. Well, I don't know. It must have been. But
of course, you hadn't met him at this stage.
No, I hadn't met him at this stage. But it was 1977 when I started teaching in the evening class. And who came in but Jeffrey? He was my pupil. So now I'm his pupil. And
was it love at first sight?
Well, apparently it must have been, because I went home actually that night, and because I'm taller than him, I said to my sister Mary, sadly she's now dead, and I said, you know, there's a lovely little fellow in the class. I said, he'd suit you down to the ground. That's exactly what I said. And Jeffrey went home that night and wrote in his diary, I think she will marry me, and he was being facetious, and he put in brackets for my brushes, because he had these lovely brushes.
Sables.
Sable, exactly. And I was very impressed with that. So that's how it all began. That was the beginning of the end.
And so you married?
Well, not until 2.5 years later. It wasn't that quick.
That's a reasonable time.
Well, probably.
Yeah. And you went on to have a few children?
Yes, 3 children, yes. Phoebe, Reuben and Sybil.
I then asked Elizabeth if she would talk us through a few examples of her work.
This is Michael Dwyer, who was the model for the Giraffe Man. He was a very good model. This is done in France, in Paris, and we had a place on the 5th floor. She was a country woman, you know. She was a little bit mad, and she used to say horrible things. Even I could understand them, you know. And she, I gave her a bunch of flowers one day, and she posted them back to the letterbox. He was an Englishman living in Paris. I'd painted him in Paris as well. Arthur Wills was his name. I knew his niece. We were at art school together in London. Oh, yet this boy here, this is a very early one. This boy is called Leo. And Leo was a navvy's son from Tyneside. And he'd been to Oxford, and he was quite brilliant. But sadly, he was taking acid. And he was only about 21 here. And he was very thin, but very bright, you know. he was like one of these figures, but you know, Egon Schiele kind of paintings.
Yes.
But a wonderful model. This is a self-portrait which I did many years ago, and I put it in a cupboard. I was kind of ashamed of it. It's probably the only palette knife painting I've ever done in a portrait. So after about 2 years of being in a wardrobe, I took it out, and now I don't mind about it. This is a portrait of my father. Again, it's an early one. You see, painting my father and Geoffrey has been a joy because they didn't care what I painted. Not that it matters what people think, but it did help. They didn't care. Whereas some people want a chocolate box image of themselves. This is called Dysfunctional Family. And so again, I cut up the painting and I made 3 paintings out of it. And this was painted in the Natural History Museum in New York. It's Neanderthal man. And these are 2 skeletons. One is of a child and one of a chimpanzee. You can see the jaw of the chimp here. So there's not much between us and the chimpanzee, really. I'm fascinated with physiology and the shape of things. And I think I'd like to have been a zoologist or naturalist. This is the last polar bear that was in Dublin. So I have 2 images of this, the polar bear turning left and the polar bear turning right, because he had no space. Soon after that, I think I don't know where they went to. Maybe they died, I don't know. He was the only polar bear, but I painted him twice. And these were a series of pumps. Geoffrey's father was a terrific man for mechanical devices, and he had the back of his car filled with stuff, all kinds of implements for fixing things. And these were a series of pumps, water pumps. And I just was fascinated with them and started painting them. This painting here is of the model, man saluting Giraffe Man. This is Michael Dwyer dressed in an American Airlines suit. And I left this bit blank. And this painting is in Maison des Poivres Gallery, Picton, Ontario. And the exhibition was called Positive Masculinity. These I did in the Arts Institute League in New York. And anybody can go in off the street and pay for a day's drawing or painting. And I went there a few times whenever I go to New York. And very famous artists have painted there as well. It doesn't matter. And I think it's great to do that.
Yes.
And you just go in for the day and you set up and you have the models. Yes. Yes, I have some more of them too. This is Rosie in the Conservatory. It's 5 foot 6 inches by 4 foot 5 inches. And it's oil on
A few
canvas,
days after
and it was
filming,
painted in
I wanted to get the
1997.
opinion of a few people who know Elizabeth, to get a different perspective on her and her work. So I made contact with the art critic Sandra Gibson, who had reviewed her work, and a distinguished art historian, curator and art dealer, William Laffan.
The first thing you notice about Elizabeth is how intensely alive she is and how she lives in the now, and that everything is equally important to her. So whether she's scraping carrots or whether she's painting a picture, there is no differentiation between the two because she has the same meditative focus, whatever she's doing, wherever she is.
Exactly how did you meet Elizabeth?
Well, I've been aware of her work,
Yeah.
but I went up to her home in Shankill Castle in Kilkenny with a friend, Dawn Williams,
Yes.
curator at the Crawford Art Gallery in Cork. We were in quite late in final stages of putting on an exhibition on the nude in Irish art.
Yes.
Going right back to the 18th century and beyond, to Sheila and the Gigs in medieval Ireland. And we were aware of Elizabeth's work, but I think we were just blown away when we visited her in Shankill. And we were very pleased as curators because it rather made our exhibition.
Yes.
And we selected one of her pictures for the poster for the exhibition, and I think then Crawford went on to acquire several of her paintings after the show.
Yes.
So, the nude is a key element of Elizabeth's art, but it's just one. Well, I think one of the things that differentiates her most from many artists working today is the sheer versatility of her practice.
Mm-hmm.
That she paints these glorious nudes, male and female, but landscapes, still lives, complex allegorical works that she can turn her hand to almost anything. But I think, as with all great artists, you immediately know it's a cope,
Yes.
whatever the genre.
Yeah. And tell me, William, why is it that in her work you'll see objects that appear to have absolutely nothing to do with the work?
Yes.
So what's going on in her
I'm
head?
not sure. But I know what you mean. There'll be tennis rackets or safety pins, a lobster, a menacing lobster. And I think I wouldn't like to over-interpret, but I think she's certainly. If you get beneath the luscious paint surface, and sometimes it's difficult to go beyond all those lovely yellows, she has created a really unique personal mythology. Her approach to iconography. It's too easy perhaps to say it's surrealist. I think it's something way beyond that. So her work is laden with meaning, but also playful. And I think to combine the charged, heavily charged meaning, terribly serious work is, I think, again what sets her apart from so many artists working today.
Yes.
One shouldn't over-interpret the personal. It is great art, as well as being laden with personal significance. Yes, the biography, the artist's biography, inevitably colours that, but equally these are museum pieces which stand on their own and will do so in 100 years' time.
Our day was drawing to a close, and before dinner I asked Elizabeth if Trina and I could have a quick tour of the basement, which is probably the most fascinating part of the house, which stretches back to the 14th century.
All these heads here. If I clear a space, Jeffrey will fill it.
Yes.
You understand?
Well, a vacuum will always get filled up to him.
Sorry?
A vacuum will always fill itself.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter it doesn't matter where you are.
Excuse me, look what I've just found.
Yes.
Lobster.
And this actually is still working. I put 2 batteries in. Shall I press it?
Yeah, do.
It's a very ugly sound, okay?
Yeah.
That's 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. Because it's made of rubber, I was inspired by it, whereas if it had been plastic, I wouldn't have had any interest. But he's called Rocky the Lobster. So well done, Alan, for noting it. This is the oldest kitchen in the house, because we're in the tower here. We're part of, the tower is. This is one of the oldest kitchens because of the fireplace. There would have been roasting large animals there. Yeah. And in this door, you see, this is a way of repairing a door when it would rot. This is called splicing, which is clever. You just remove the bad bit and you put in the good bit.
Gosh, Jeffrey's a handy fellow, isn't he?
He's very handy.
Yeah.
This kitchen is the newest kitchen in the house, you could say. It was made a proper kitchen around 1880.
The thought of so many kitchens from different eras had me drooling. It was time for dinner.
Trina and to Alan.
to the chef.
I'm planning a holiday with you, whether you like it or not.
Lovely, good.
Thank you very much.
To you both for having us.
No, to you.
All
Trina.
right, I'll take it.
Trina and Alan.
And then we
lots of
do
love,
it for
and
you.
thank you for all your kindness.
Thank you very much
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Alan. for allowing us into your lives.
Water, sweetheart, is that?
Okay.
Are you on
Go
water?
on to the water, yeah.
Are you doing good?
I
Well,
can't.
there's water on the table.
Not, no, we're not.
That's
This is lovely, Trina.
delicious, absolutely delicious. And it's made with love and affection.
Wow.
Delicious. Thank you.
It makes itself a little
So
bit.
lovely.
As our cosy candlelit dinner continued into the night, I was conscious that this was a very special moment, shared with 2 genuinely kind-hearted individuals. I could plainly see that Elizabeth's daily routine can change instantly from artist to farmer to gardener, caterer, roof fixer, tour guide, bookkeeper, grandmother, innkeeper, and back again to her main passion of painting. At this late hour, I cannot keep pace with the energy of this human dynamo. And so, to conclude this day in the life, I thought I'd leave the last word to Elizabeth, which I think sums up her philosophy of life and work.
You're not there to judge, you're there to, I suppose, it's like a big dump life. You're just picking up pieces along the way. There's good bits and there's bad bits, I mean, I like art that irritates, not in the sense of annoyance, but like the grain of sand that upsets the oyster to make the pearl. There must be a connection between me, the painter, and the viewer. It should hurt, touch something a bit raw. Otherwise, it's just decorative wrapping around objects. It's like being in a state of grace if you can achieve this spontaneity. You've made it and you haven't made it. It happened.